You're listening to Sudbury News Talk
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
on the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Happy to be with you. And I hope you're happy to be with us on CKLU 96.7 FM. CKLU on the internet. If you download the Firefox browser, you can listen to us anytime. And if you download the Radio Player Canada app, you can then listen to us anytime, anywhere on your favorite device. And Facebook Live. Welcome. Make sure to like, follow the page, the video, like and share. And YouTube Live. Make sure to subscribe. And feel free to comment because we get all the comments in the show. So that way your comments become part of the show. You keep us on our toes, keep us honest, and keep us factual. And that's exactly what we need to have as a factual discussion as much as possible of sharing our views and our opinions of local issues and events, keeping us in the conversation and in the know all at the same time. So this is a service that we do for the community. And we don't even get paid very much. So, and here to attest of that fact is our guest in the hot seat today, Billy.
Not all payments monetary, you know? It's its own reward, as they say.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I kind of say that for that purpose because it's a passion. We love doing it. It is a service for the community, you know, volunteering and giving of your time and your talents to make your community a better place is a thing that is its own reward, as you say, Billy.
What you, I would say, are the king of that.
Oh, wow. Well, I wouldn't view myself as that, but thank you.
Well, if I was to
Appreciate it.
quantify everyone I know and like how much they kind of do, I'd say you're definitely on the short list.
Oh, Billy. Speaking of being paid, I'm going to have to forward you, make an e-transfer or something for that wonderful comment.
Yeah, I'll calculate what it's worth.
No, all kidding aside, I really appreciate that. And really, even, you know, you who join us on the show every day, and good morning, Lise. As usual, Lise is there saying good morning. And it's interesting how I look forward to I've never met anyone personally other than a couple of the people that join us. And it's kind of like I get to know the people that are commenting, you know, on a daily basis somehow through your comments. It's kind of like when you have a friendship that's like, remember they used to have pen pals back in the day?
Mm-hmm. I did have one.
You did?
Yeah. That was
Oh.
a thing in school. You would, the whole class would get a pen pal from someplace in Africa, and it was a great thing.
Yeah. I don't know if our school did that. Maybe we did. Yeah. It's hard for me to remember, but yeah, no, pen pals. And it's an interesting way to get to know somebody you never met physically, right? But it's interesting. You get to know them almost on a deeper level by writing to them.
Mm-hmm. Well, even just the idea, you start thinking about, like, wondering what's their world like, and just the idea of it kind of opens your horizons a bit.
Exactly. And so one of the benefits of social media, thanks to Facebook and thanks to YouTube, it's an amazing platform. It's a miracle in many ways. And this is the way we can be pen pals with I don't know, many people.
I never thought of it like that,
Sudbury,
but yeah, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah. Well, I guess we are on one side. We're not really communicating by typing. We are in video and audio, right? But it's then text as well, back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting dynamic, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate all those that have, you know, helped to make the show get as many viewers and get out there as much as possible by liking, following the page, sharing it sharing the video with your friends and your acquaintances on Facebook. We appreciate that. And again, at the end of the day, I think I think it's beneficial for everybody in Sudbury. It's not like I have some secret mission of any aspirations other than getting to the bottom of things that are going to make this community a better place for each and every one of us. And that includes people with different points of view. And that's why I think everyone's point of view is important. And that's why I welcome it as much as possible. Even if you don't agree, I actually, when someone doesn't agree with me, especially in this context, something inside me goes, "Oh, that's awesome."
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we don't disagree. I mean, we don't agree necessarily 100% on everything.
Totally. And I think like when that happens, and the whole idea is that you get somebody to present another position and, from their vantage point, their viewpoint, which a lot of times, the way it goes sometimes in the discussion, it just, it plants seeds and it sits with you and then you observe the world around you with that new sort of perspective in mind. And over time, you start to, uh, expand your horizons. I'm going to stick to my key phrases today because I only know about 4 of them. So
expand your horizons is perfect, Billy. I love expanding my horizons. I make a point of doing that. If you're not learning something new, interesting. I shared a meme that's something like, if you're always learning or whatever, always be learning kind of thing. And then I had somebody a good friend too, kind of kiboshes my comments and said, "Well, it depends who you're learning from." And I just thought that was a bit of a damper, you know what I mean? Because you're always learning, even from bad examples.
I think
you
it's
can
all
learn,
positive.
right?
Yeah,
Something.
yeah. Even if you go down a wrong road, and that's how you get to the right road. You keep going down wrong roads till it's like, oh,
That's exactly right.
I've gone down those 4 other roads. They all go to a dead end. This 5th road. How about this?
And even when you see someone say or do something that you really totally don't agree with, you just say, well, okay, I'm not going to, whenever I'm in that position, I'm not going to do that same thing. So you're still learning, even if it's from a bad example.
Yeah.
So nothing wrong with that. Okay. Well,
that's how most of my learning's done.
I think a lot of us learn that way. Yeah, including me, for sure. Well, we'll get to some weather and then some headlines. And then we have Pierre, who was noted as one of our best guests ever. He will be joining us today at 8 o'clock. So it's going to be something new. There's always something new on the show. And today we're just going to have Pierre all of a sudden appear on the show. And we'll be in the middle of a discussion and he'll probably be like, check, test, 1, 2. I have no idea how this is going to work. But he's going to come in at 8. Apparently, so we'll see how that goes. We'll be back after a little bit of weather. I guess there was no volume on yeah, that's right. There was
no
that-
volume on your Facebook. Is your little
yeah, Jerome came
dial?
on. Yeah, the dial was down. That's
Yeah.
my fault. So I gave the whole weather without sound. Thank you guys for this is a new system here. I got a dial every time I play a video. I got a dial that I have to turn down and off, or else there's a loop in the sound of the video, and it's like it just echoes and stuff. So thank you very much, guys, for being on top of that. So, and I apologize, but the weather, you could see it there. A little recap if you want, real quickly. It's 19 degrees currently. Tonight there's a 30% chance of drizzle. So, but the humidex is going to feel like 30, highs 24. Tonight it's going to be clearing, low of 13, and then tomorrow it'll be 25, feel like 30, sunny. Saturday, much of the same. There you go. Look how fast we can do the weather.
Wow, yeah.
Crazy.
Second time's the charm.
Love it. So, headlines today. What I'll do is I'll get the Facebook up and running so we can see,
Sure.
what we've been sharing on our Sudbury News Facebook page, and then Billy, I think
I can run down the list, sort of like in the order that they were shared.
Yeah, I feel like
or maybe it's reverse order that they were shared.
I think it's it is reversed. Yeah, so the one I recently shared is the newest.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I just have to get my screen. It keeps popping me off of where it should be for some reason.
Easter Seals Sudbury welcomes new community engagement officer.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I thought that was a light local news story. And there's the name there too, right? MJ Papin.
Oh, okay. That sounds familiar.
Oh, really? Will plan to oversee local events as well as raising funds to help children with physical disabilities in Greater Sudbury find greater independence, freedom, and dignity. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't think we need to unpack that story later or whatever. I think that's pretty cool.
Sounds like you got all the key elements there.
Because they have a new, it's called a fundraising and events coordinator or something like that. Oh, yeah. Community engagement officer.
Yeah. Okay.
A new community engagement officer. Easter Seals. Great organization. I don't know if you've ever had to deal with Easter Seals before, but we had a daughter who unfortunately passed away that had a terminal illness that we had to use Easter Seals, and they were phenomenal. Without them, I don't think we would have been able to get through it. As hard as that sounds, Easter Seals was able to make it bearable, give us the funding we needed, to give us the support that we needed. So anyways, huge plug for Easter Seals.
Wow, yeah, for sure.
Huge plug. It's a great organization, because a lot of times people are, what's the word again?
Apathetic.
Yeah, I was going to say lethargic again. It's crazy how my brain goes there. Thanks, Billy, for that. Apathetic, yes. People are apathetic to these organizations because they feel there's a lot of corruption, right? And so if I give my money to them, is it going to go to the cause, or is it just going to line some pockets kind of thing?
Yeah.
But Easter Seals definitely.
Well, we've got the 411 on Easter Seals.
Yeah, definitely came through for me, at least. So cool.
And we have a letter that says, is Sudbury prepared to help this winter's homeless?
Mm-hmm.
So that's good to get that on the radar, because that's going to be a concern for sure.
Definitely. It's hard enough to be homeless, let alone homeless in Sudbury in 40 below weather.
Apparently it's getting easier to be homeless too. It's getting tougher and tougher out there.
Oh, I see what you mean. Not easier to get by being homeless, but
it's
easier
not
to become homeless.
An easier life being homeless. No, it's just
okay. No, that makes sense.
Just more people slipping through the cracks.
Yeah, no, that makes 100% sense.
And we have another letter. London's arena, good example for Sudbury to follow.
Yeah. So that's on the whole CAD thing, right? In the Sudbury arena, that we weren't able to pull it together and actually get an arena built. I guess in this letter, the individual is making the case that maybe we could follow London's example.
Right. Did they do a refurbished kind of thing?
No, I think they did a whole brand new thing.
Downtown.
As far as I know, it's downtown, but we can unpack that one later. And again, I apologize to some people that when we look at these stories and you might be thinking, oh, good, I want to learn more about that, or I'd love to have the conversation. And then maybe we don't get to it sometimes. I apologize for that. And at the same time, if you do want to just throw in the comments of, yeah, that would be really great to discuss, or I have some things to say about that, then we know for sure, like, hey, okay, good. We'll get to that story for sure. Because again, you are a part of this show just as much as we are. We're facilitating it, but we're all in the conversation. Cool.
Good thinking. Let's see. Police. Drunk Sudbury driver wandered into the bush after crash.
Yeah, that was on Manitoulin Island, apparently.
Okay.
OPP responded to a single vehicle crash on Manitoulin Island, but ended up having to hike along a trail to search for the driver. So apparently, he was kind of smart in some ways, as knowing
go to dry out a little bit.
Exactly. If they don't catch me for 24 hours, maybe when they do the breathalyzer, it'll be better. But they kind of caught him right away.
Okay.
Unfortunately, so spoiler alert on that one. If we don't get time to get to that or whatever, he escaped out of the vehicle and ran into the bush. Police later got him.
And here's a very topical one. Lobby groups push for removal of user content exemption in Bill C-17 documents show.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you went through that one.
I did. Now, Bill C-10 is, it's all to do with content, media. It's to really regulate social media.
Like the CRTC would have kind of like an oversight over your personal content kind of thing. Is that the idea?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a way to regulate. Yeah. To make sure that, it's the idea of fake news. They want to squash fake news, but we'll unpack this more, but eventually you're just squashing everything except for what the government.
Who's calling it fake?
Well, that's what I mean, right?
And how long is it fake for?
Yeah. Yeah, if you're asking us questions we don't want you to ask, that's fake news. So you don't get your license, and sorry, you're not able to practice news anymore or practice journalism.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate. We are slipping. We're on a slippery slope.
We've got some glimpses of where it could go.
Yeah, we're on a slippery slope. If you like free press and you like, getting to the bottom of things, you're just going to be told what the right answers are, and you're not going to be able to question it. That's really what's coming down. That's not even being critical. That's, if you really boil it down, you're just going to have the government instituted, news, and anything else outside of that will be illegal and shut down. That's what it boils down to.
That's kind of what it could be if you,
allow it.
If we ever had corruption.
Oh, man, good thing we don't. It's a good thing we don't. Okay.
And I think, I'm not too sure if this is the last one.
Nope. There's a few.
Media release.
Yeah, there is a media release here, and then it ends with another media release. So that's probably what you're thinking. As the stories we shared yesterday. So there's
Oh, and this one's pretty important too. It's the three men in connection with two break-and-enters at the Sudbury Arena.
Yep. So I do know this story. I did read it, and I think there was two separate incidents. There's a 39-year-old guy or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
That was found in one incident, but then there was another one where two younger people broke in as well, and the guy saw them on the security camera, basically just called police, and they escaped out of one of the doors, and the police nabbed them. So they never ended up getting anything or doing any damage or anything like that, but they broke in. I don't know what they're expecting. So
scoping it out.
Yeah, they were probably scoping it out. Like, what could you actually get from an arena that's not really going or whatever? You know what I mean? It's not even.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of.
I guess you'd have to go in to see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Jerome says, always question authority. Yeah. But that's going to be illegal to do that according to Bill C-10. Because questioning authority. Yeah. And we're going to have more on that. I think tomorrow I should dedicate the show a little bit more. Maybe we won't cover it too much today because I have an interesting video I want to share that was given to me by a friend on that subject as well, on what the plans are. Everything is going to be it's a government issued video commercial, basically, similar to back in the 50s, when you can hear propaganda in it, kind of thing. But it's towards people on the internet that are sharing false information. Beware of it. If you see it, report it. These types of things, So kind of Orwellian in some respects. But I'll share that video tomorrow. Maybe unpack that story as well, and share, and because it is important. It's hugely important, and for this conversation locally. So what's going to happen if we share something that could be hurtful to, like, let's say we're talking yesterday about the counselors, and I said, oh, Robert Kerwin, who was the one who made the who was reprimanded 3 times for doing nefarious things on social media, is now saying he supports clamping down on people doing nefarious things on social media. I said, that's kind of hypocritical. Well, by me saying that, I could be taken off the air because it's deemed hateful, because Robert Kerwin could have his feelings hurt by that statement I made. So anyone who gets their feelings hurt by the statements, that's hurtful, and that's deemed hate speech. So it's a whole separate thing. They're making laws rejigging what hate speech means. So anyone in a conversation you say, oh, look at that shirt that guy's wearing. Oh, that's illegal. You're arrested. That person's feelings were hurt from what you said. You laughed at his shirt. And I'm not kidding. That's the point that we're getting. So that's tied in with this whole YouTube, social media bill C-10. So now if you say something, how could you can even say something by accident and it could be deemed, like if I even sneezed, oh, he laughed. He laughed. No, that's hate. You're taken off the air. So that's the kind of world we're heading into, like it or not. And I guess we'll have a show for a little while.
You know me, I'm very optimistic.
Yeah. Billy doesn't see that happening. He sees the opposite. He sees that, oh no, we're all going to realize, well, here I'm speaking for you. This is what Billy thinks.
Yeah. Easy there.
I know. No, but I'm just saying, you're the most positive person I know. And you have a very bright outlook at the future. And I appreciate that, because it gives me hope.
There's things going on. I'll use the example that, so we have a situation right now where the government says, oh no, that's false news, fake news, got to take it off the air. But what would be really a cure-all for that situation is if you had someone who came into power with, who looked and sounded evil and actually said, sorry, that's fake news. We're gonna take that off the air, but it's incredibly obvious that it's not fake news.
Yeah.
And people would be like, well, that guy's clearly, this is clearly a tyrant, which funny seems to be happening in a lot of the world.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you can kind of see that, oh yeah, no, if bad people get in control with these rules here, they're just going to have the pathway paved for them to have their way.
But the problem is, like in places like Russia or any place like Cuba or China, any of these countries, like the people see what you're seeing. Like they'll look at the TV and go, these guys are full of it. But they have no power over it because the law says, and they're accountable to the law of their country. So we're in the middle right now of changing our laws. So it doesn't matter if we see it. We can see it all we want, like you're saying. And the people will go, yeah. And the people will be awake and say, that's ridiculous that they're saying this. But regardless, if you speak out against it, you're arrested because now it's the law. You're breaking the law. And everyone will say, well, yeah, he's a lawbreaker. Well, it's true. Did you break the law? Yeah, I broke the law. See, well, you got to go to jail. Well, it's not that simple. That law shouldn't even be in there anyway. Well, you should have got elected and you could have went through the parliamentary process just like anyone else because it's a free country and you could have had your say. But now it's a law, so you have to live by it. Mm-hmm. So that's that in a nutshell.
It is. And I think, all my life, I've never seen the pushback going on as there is right now to these laws that are being, you can look at, again, a lot of the Scandinavian countries. Well, I think all around the world, there's a huge amount of protests going on that's not it's not really covered by mainstream news.
No, that's right. Exactly. And mainstream, that's what I mean. So if they make all the other news illegal and they make policies that people like Google and Facebook and YouTube have to, by law, take these people off, how are we going to get that news later? Right?
Yeah.
So again,
that's why it is a very critical point right now.
this is a huge discussion, and it almost requires a whole show to unpack it, talk about it, and whatever, and then archive it so that way at least, it's topical, and I think other places as well, not just Sudbury, could benefit from the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, but this is cool news, hey? This next story, right? We got a really cool show that's being filmed in the Sudbury area and has been for some time. It's one of Canada's most popular shows.
Okay, yes. Letterkenny
Mm-hmm.
Studio eyes 3-year lease of Gabriel Arena.
Yeah. The otherwise unused first of 2 pads in the Caperell Arena have been targeted for use by Letterkenny and Get Her Done Productions, New Metric Media. That's the people who make Letterkenny, as a film studio under a temporary 3-year lease with the city of Greater Sudbury. So they actually want to build a studio in the arena. Some idea that we had several years ago.
Well, it's a pretty common idea,
Yeah.
and that's that happened here in Sudbury in the New Sudbury too, right?
Well, even before that, we were talking about that, right?
It's a good repurposing of studios.
It's right.
Of arenas.
A lot of these arenas not getting used like they used to, and they said the seldom used 1 pad of the 2 in Caperell, could be repurposed as a television studio for this show, which is pretty darn awesome. Looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
I also talked to a friend of mine who's in charge of locations, and I said he should come by and check out this property.
Oh, yeah?
As a possibility of, think of all the possibilities here for location filming and things like that. And even in the building or whatever, so there's a lot of open space.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, so he's going to come by. He's also a musician.
Right on.
He's a drummer, right? So maybe he'll spend some time jamming with us.
Yeah.
While he's here. Yeah.
We have the means.
We have the means. Arby's has the beef, the meat. We have the means. Okay. If you listen to mainstream advertising, that's just an advertisement from Arby's. James says, we will always expose the truth. I guess, yeah. You'll just have less tools available to do that. And then they'll make marching in the streets illegal, and then they'll make all your tools illegal, so that way you're always breaking the law, and then welcome to China. Okay, that's my bleak outlook on things. Billy is here to add that amazing other, more hopeful point of view, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I think there's reasons for optimism.
There is, and I appreciate it. So this is a letter from Ward 4 candidate.
Says quitting the race was difficult.
Yeah. Withdrawing was necessary. The decision to run in the first place was about change. And we need change all over, starting at the top. So, former Ward 4 candidate is not going to run in this race. But it was a difficult decision.
The interesting thing about that statement, which I kind of disagree with, about change starting at the top. When you change the top, but the people don't change, the top's going to go back to the way it was. Okay. It's only when the people change that the top is actually changed.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I think that's what's happening to the world right now. Part of tying back into our previous conversation,
apathy.
The people are changing. They're sort of seeing. There's this uncovering of things right now. And when the people have gone through this dark night of the soul, if you will, they will. I think history. This is the history of the future. They'll be looking back, and I think it'll be one of these points where, a pretty big transformation happened.
Yeah. Well, I think, and I like how you said the truth the history of the future. That was pretty cool. Makes it sound like a book or something. More truth told through social media these days, it seems. Some aren't liking this. Well, apparently the powers that be aren't liking it, and that's why they're making laws to prevent that from happening, because, if the propaganda isn't working, or if your message isn't coming through, you have to stop the other messages from coming through, right? And then all you have to go on is that. And that's why we love this show and the idea of having all the points of view from all different people, because it helps us to understand one another. But if you stop the conversation, which is going to start happening with this new bill C10 coming in, things like that, then then you just have one narrative that's given to you, and like it or leave it, that's what it is. You can't even discuss it. It's illegal to discuss it even, because the only place we can discuss it is either in our living rooms with our friends or on social media, right? As soon as it gets on social media, it's squashed. That's what that whole thing is to do.
Yeah. And I think that public apathy is because when you hear of like bills, a lot of people just have a default that it's like, it's kind of out of their hands. It's in the hands of politicians now.
Yeah.
And I don't know, have to find a way, like, because really the people do have to fight to keep this freedom, right? So.
Yeah. And a lot of people, see, they've demonized the word even. Like the word you just said, some people, like I remember back
it's
in the
all
day,
associated with different things now. Yeah.
Yeah. If you said freedom, some people go, "Oh, you're one of those."
Yeah.
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 And I know
Well played, media.
Pierre's ready to come on. I know I can see you there, Pierre. So I'm just wondering when the best time is for you to pipe in here. We're just
now.
Yeah, maybe now. We're just finishing up with our headlines, and then it's just going to segue into something we're going to be talking about. I just want to see if I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Okay. Well, I did hear you. It's a little bit cutting out, just a tad. Yeah, we're going to have to get you a microphone there, Pierre.
I know.
We got one here. It's earmarked for Randy Pascal, but I mean, you're welcome to it as well. If you want some suggestions for mics, Billy and I went exhaustively through a bunch of mics, and we picked really financially, what's the word?
Frugal.
Yeah, we were frugal with our money, and we found the best bang for our buck mic. And so I think it's only $100 ish on Amazon, and this is the mics we're using here. So
I'm just realizing now that I feedback. Oh, geez.
Okay. Well, you kind of figure that out at the same time. We'll keep going through our headlines as we do that. So yeah, and everything will be cool. Everything will work out, just like Billy says.
Nice to see you, Pierre.
Exactly. Okay, so we were speaking of from the top, right? That's what former Ward 4 council person said, that we need to make changes from the top. And speaking of the top, here's our top. 1 month, Trudeau used enough fuel to power a trucker convoy. And that's a good segue too from what we were just talking about. The demonized word that used to be kind of cool,
Yeah.
just to be free to kind of say what you want, free to think what you want, and the pleasure to share that with others and hear cool other points of views has now been demonized. But here we have our prime minister using enough fuel in 1 month to power a trucker convoy.
Do they say how long of a convoy?
No, they just say a trucker convoy.
Yeah.
So
that's one of those arguments. When is a pile of leaves not a pile? Is it?
Yeah. The headline's a bit deceiving because you're thinking of the whole convoy in Ottawa, and you're like, whoa, as if. But a trucker convoy.
Yeah.
So again, the headline is a little bit kind of misleading. We talk about that, and that's what you can do with words, right? It implants in your mind something that isn't reality. But
they do get a little more specific in the article.
Yeah.
Roughly enough fuel to power a good size convoy of trucks.
Yeah, exactly.
So there we go.
But apparently, yeah, he used a lot of fuel in the last month or so, and yeah, that was there's tons of fuel. He used. You just opened the article. I'm trying to get. Miles asked a question: who was the former Ward 4 candidate? So it wasn't Ward 4 councillor; it was a Ward 4 candidate. So it doesn't even say the name.
Oh, it did. I'm pretty sure. I think I read that last night. Let me find it here.
Yeah, I'm going through.
And
It's the person's letter.
yeah.
Oh,
Pauline
Fortune.
Forte,
Pauline Fortin.
I think.
Yeah, because she's the author. She signed the letter at the end. So, yeah, that's who it is.
Yeah, good letter.
Yeah, and then they mean that Trudeau used the fuel in his jet. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that he wasn't in a transport or part of a trucker convoy, as we already can surmise.
Yeah,
right.
Those kind of stories, I don't know. They don't really have much an effect on me. Like,
no,
because realistically, world leaders, they have to be allotted a certain allowance, and they can't be. It's got to be liberal enough that they can, they're not.
But they said he's been going across the country for photo ops, basically, kind of.
Yeah.
And he's not campaigning. He doesn't need that, right? It's not an election, so you can unpack that. That's a National Post article then shared from the Sudbury Star. Justin Trudeau, I'll share the screen here. Justin Trudeau used enough fuel to power a trucker convoy. Justin Trudeau's July jet travel also emitted roughly 85.8 tons of greenhouse gases into the Earth's atmosphere. The yearly Canadian average is 4.1 tons.
Yeah, for a leader of a country, that's not a huge unacceptable ratio to me.
Well, he's the hugest advocate for climate change too, right? He's telling the farmers they can only use half the fertilizer this year. And then what's the result of that? Less food for people in Canada and the world, because we also feed the world, not just Canada. And so he's telling it's a law. You cannot use the same fertilizer used but meanwhile, he's using 85.8 tons of greenhouse gases.
Yeah. And I like
himself,
Sure.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Again, it's like him making a law that that you're not allowed to wear masks on federal trains, but yet he's on a train not wearing a mask. Does that make any sense?
That has more impact to me.
Yeah.
Than the
fuel.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so Pierre, now that you're here, let's see. Well, we'll see what Miles is saying here first. He's not a Trudeau supporter. I never voted for him, but he has to get to Costa Rica somehow. Yeah. Thanks, Miles. That's funny. Okay, Pierre, how you doing with your sound there? Is everything checking out?
I'm not sure. Working out very well here. I'm here. I gotta get this fixed. Sorry, guys.
You know what, Pierre? Let's just get you a nice mic and we'll get you all set up and you'll be rare.
I'll just listen in today because second delay here.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. And that's too bad because man, I like your 2 cents on things.
Yeah, me too. And so do the viewers and the listeners. 100%.
I'll come in tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Oh no. Wait a minute.
No?
I don't have a mic.
Well, we can maybe figure that out tonight, Pierre. If we do, then you're on tomorrow. If we can get you a mic by then.
Okay.
Let's try something out. Let's do that. Okay, Pierre Bonhomme, coined as the best guest ever on our show. He'll be on tomorrow. We're gonna get him a mic. Okay, Pierre. Thanks, man.
All right.
See ya.
Lots to talk about tomorrow for sure. That'll be a good conversation with Pierre. And again, I didn't know. I said that at the beginning of the show. I wasn't sure how that was going to work with someone coming on halfway because there's always, technical things you have to work through and things like that. So, but
it's worth a shot.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Yeah, he sounds cooler this way. Oh yeah, right. Well, it'd be frustrating because he has so many really cool things to say, and then, and then half of it is not
kind of chopping up. Yeah,
very choppy. So yeah, let's get back to some of our headlines here. We're almost through them. There's only 2 or 3 more possibly. The Laurentian one was interesting to me. Because I never even thought that there's a chance it might not go through, the insolvency.
Right.
But
right.
there is a chance. They're voting on it.
Vote no on plan of arrangement.
Mm-hmm. From the fired people. Or, sorry, fired faculty say.
Yeah, so I'm trying to wrap my head around that. You have any insights on that?
Yeah, so they're going to vote on the, whether they agree to the, what they've come up with of how to pay off the creditors. And if people don't, including the creditors, don't agree with it, and they vote it down, no, we're not going to take what you're offering, then Laurentian actually could cease to exist.
Right.
Gonzo.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye, lo, as they say in Chelmsford and other places around here.
That would be a shock to the system here in Sudbury.
It would. So, a committee of Laurentian University staff who lost their jobs thanks to cuts made as part of insolvency proceedings are urging their colleagues to reject the proposed plan of arrangement for something better. So that's what it's called, the proposed plan of arrangement.
Okay.
So
So
the
both
arrangement.
parties have to agree to this.
Yeah, everyone's got to agree. Creditors, the staff, I guess, too, of Laurentian. And look, they're fired, right? So they have no say. But they're urging their former colleagues to vote no for the plan of arrangement.
So when does this vote happen?
Yeah, we'll have to find that out here.
Is that October 5th, the date that I see on here? Provided the plan of arrangement is approved by Laurentian's creditors, the university hopes to seek a sanction order motion to exit solvency on October 5th. So no, I guess the vote is before then.
Signatories to the letter laid out 5 reasons they are urging some 90 of their terminated colleagues to reject the university's rhetoric about implications of rejecting the plan of arrangement and vote no anyway. The letter was signed by a few people. We, the members of the terminated faculty committee, encourage you to vote against Laurentian's proposed plan of compromise or arrangement. The letter reads, the proposed plan is inadequate and unjust. It's a mix of rotten carrots and divisive threats. Rotten carrots? That's interesting verbiage. And divisive threats designed to drive a majority into voting yes. We want a fair settlement. This one is not. So they give the 5 reasons. They're quite expanded on, but I could possibly just read the reasons themselves. So the first reason is that terminated faculty and staff are expected to approve the elimination of their jobs. So I guess they do vote on it. The destruction of careers, the loss of future earnings, the cancellation of benefits, and slashing severance packages, all for a possible payment of only 14 to 24 cents on the dollar.
Right. But if it doesn't go through, they lose all that stuff anyway, right?
Yeah, you know what? That's what I would think. That was what crossed my mind too. Second, the threat being held over us is that if the plan is voted down, Laurentian necessarily will be liquidated, closed, sold off. They say the claim is false. So that's what you're kind of saying, that they're going to lose their job anyways, or everything's going to be done anyways. The terminated faculty say they have reviewed the CCAA cases where a plan of arrangement has been rejected. And what tends to follow a rejection, they said, is it sends all parties back to negotiation process and come up with a better plan.
A bit risky. I mean, the key word being tends to follow.
Yeah, that's true. They are
not
taking a risk
necessarily.
there. Definitely a risk. There's no doubt about it.
And number 3.
3, a vote against the plan would also send a message to the province to step up their responsibility. I guess. I don't know necessarily. Laurentian did this on purpose. The province actually has things in place to prevent people like universities from going under. So.
Good point. Yeah. Yeah. No one's feeling no one's feeling the heat at the government level. I don't think is not quite as much anyway.
No, because they basically did an audit
They
of it.
sort of followed the rules, I guess.
Exactly. They are there for the Laurentian should have came to them. We talked about this exhaustively on previous shows. Laurentian should have went to the government saying we're having problems. They didn't. They actually kind of took out more loans and built more legacy projects and things, knowing that they didn't have the money to do that, and they went headlong into the process of bankruptcy without informing the province, the people. They should have said, oh, we're having a hard time. And then there's processes to go through. They didn't want to go through those processes. They would have kept all their jobs, right? So I think this is one way to eliminate unionized jobs and things to get around that. If they would have went to the province would have said, well, you can't do that. You got to keep all the staff. You can't fire people, blah, blah, blah. And this was their way to trim off people they wanted to let go and start from scratch. There's also another non-financial reasons why our members will be voting against Laurentian's plan. The terminated faculty argue Laurentian's bilingual, tricultural model was destroyed by the actions of Laurentian administration, yet the LU still wants to prevent any potential transfer of Francophone programs to institutions outside of Laurentian's control. The clause in the plan of arrangement covering this should be removed, they argue. Not only has the Franco-Ontario community turned its back on Laurentian and is aiming to create an independent Franco-Ontarian University. I made that suggestion a few shows ago. You remember that?
I do.
I said, I think I see something here.
You might have called it.
My eye spots a Franco-Ontarian conspiracy to take over the university or to make their own out of this schmozzle. And it could have started way before all of this. And they could have had a voice to say, no, don't go through the regular process. We won't get our own university by doing this. Let's just burn it to the ground. And then from the ashes, the phoenix rises up with a Franco-Ontarian recognized university.
That is a big assumption at this point, I would say.
See, that's why I like you, Billy.
Yeah.
You keep me grounded. You keep me grounded. But anyways, they do say not only has the Franco-Ontarian community turned its back on Laurentian and is aiming to create an independent Franco-Ontarian University. As a result, the plan ignores the federated universities, they say, and the plan calls for the continuation of the Indigenous Studies program, but does not require consultation with Indigenous peoples as a foundational condition post-CCAA. So yeah, they want to continue with the Indigenous program, but they don't want to include Indigenous people in the formation of that, or the redesign or the rethinking of how it will look going forward. Does that make any sense? You want an Indigenous program, but you don't want to consult in the Indigenous peoples on how to go about that?
Yeah, that's worth looking into.
Yep. So the plan also excludes the recovery of private donations and research grants received before December 2022 or 2020. So they had a bunch of grants and money coming in, and it doesn't address that. So I think that's makes sense. So they got money they're not claiming in this process. They're just going to keep for themselves, right? They got money, private donations, research grants.
Right. And it just kind of went into the big pool of money it didn't get.
Or whatever. Where is it?
Right?
It's not mentioned. The plan excludes the recovery of private donations, research grants. So 5, we believe Laurentian's CCAA process has set a terrible precedent for public universities and institutions in Ontario and Canada. Bingo.
Right. Getting your money's worth out of that thing
Yeah,
today.
I know. So that's exactly what if they come through this and they don't get their hand slapped or whatever, how many other universities will say, yeah, this is a great idea. Why don't we just bankrupt our university and we'll end up way better off than we were beforehand, right? Yeah, I think it was really planned before. We made that case a long time ago when Zach was on the show, and that was part of the Auditor General of Ontario when they did their audit of Laurentian. It was a preliminary report, not the full report yet, but they said basically this was done on purpose.
Really?
It was due to incompetence on the people in charge of Laurentian
That was I keep bringing up this article that really had a profound impact on me. From Rolling Stone in the I think in the 2000s, talking about kind of corporate takeover techniques, and how you would sort of get in, lend a company a bunch of money. This is the criticisms of the IMF and stuff like that too.
Yep.
And then when you lend them that money, you take control of how it's spent, and then you essentially, sell give some golden parachutes to some of the other decision makers at the top there, but essentially destroy a company within, and then you have like a real client, or another arm of the larger parent company sort of buys up this company for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a very interesting abstract model that I think sometimes these situations, it happens more often than the public is generally aware of, but
Yep.
it's always good to explore those possibilities too.
Yeah, no, there's all kinds of things go on behind the scenes for reasons, there's these, they say the Franco-Ontarian coalition, is a lobby group basically. And so they would have had a voice, and they would have had the ear of many of the decision makers going on here. So they could have influenced what the decisions that we made to avoid going to the government and their proper channels while we were facing some financial problems, and just decided, hey, this is the way we could get, our way. That's how politics works. There's
What's that
people
saying?
that want things.
Never let a good crisis go to waste.
Exactly. Never let a
So
good crisis go to waste. And that's, like you said, political tactics and things like that. Well, that's definitely one. So they were saying basically, if this happens to Laurentian, with a public institution appearing to seek insolvency deliberately to make operational changes it could otherwise have made, it can happen to any other similar institution in the country. The terminated faculty argue, just like we said, all communities should be aware that the program and research commitments, donations, and obligations can be served with little regard from the perpetrators, they write. Further, people working in universities across Canada should be aware that the CCAA process makes their collective agreements not worth the paper they're written on, which is true. That was one way they were able to get rid of unionized workers and find a way around what their bargaining was able to get for them.
right.
From collective bargaining. They go on to say, with proxy ballots and claim statements soon to be sent out, the terminated faculty are encouraging their colleagues to vote no. We encourage you to mail in your proxy before 10 a.m. on September 9th, 2022, with the box checked vote against approval of the plan. Yeah. So this isn't, cut and dry by any means. There's a lot going on here, but you can definitely see their point. There's no doubt about it. They make some good points. I like how they have five points and then they kind of unpack them. Oh yeah. And then Jerome says, have Indigenous ever been consulted in this country? No, I believe the answer is no. Very rarely. I did a paper or did a presentation in university just recently at Laurentian, just before it went bankrupt. I just squeezed out of there with my degree. And thankfully, to the people at Laurentian, the people I dealt with were amazing and amazing. They were able to help me in that way. I could have ended up doing 3 years without getting my final year with a degree. So anyways, the presentation I did was on museums in Canada and how they portray Indigenous culture and art and peoples. And it was usually the museum curator who thought, oh, they probably would think this is the way they want their art displayed in the museum, and so they made it. And I unpacked that thing like you wouldn't believe. The way it was displayed was very box-like. It was in glass cases, and it also was symbolic of maybe how they as a people are in boxes and in cages. And it was interesting.
Very artistic eye.
Yeah. And it was on museums about art. So anyways, I don't think the professor really saw all of my connections I was making as much as I thought the connections I were making, how it was, how in depth it was. But anyways, it's true. They weren't never consulted. But to say something, a Billy-esque statement, there were examples of museum curators being Indigenous and for that reason being brought in to change that now.
All right. Yeah.
And so there are changes being made. So it's not like nothing has been done. But I was showing how things were in the recent past, but there were some movements to change that, which is really cool. So it'll be have to be determined later what happens with the vote on September the 9th. We know the date.
So
September 9th is when it all comes down.
a little more than a month away.
And this is an interesting story. We'll just, I guess, be able to just leave with this story. I guess we unpacked as we went. The Greater Sudbury Police arrested 3 young people.
Okay, yes. And you had gone into that a little bit. So
Yeah.
this is different from the 2 people that were just kind of walking around. I guess
Yep.
these people, they actually took stuff.
Yeah, so August 2nd, they received a call regarding a weapons complaint at a residence on Arvo Street in Greater Sudbury. So one of the perpetrators shot an individual in the face with a BB gun. And later, they're youth, so they can't be named. And they had a BB gun, they had a knife, and other weapons they threw in the bush. The police later found them. They arrested the 3 youths.
I get that reference.
They arrested them and can't be named because they're underage. But fortunately, the person had minor injuries from the BB gun shot to the face, and the perpetrator was a female. The one who shot the person in the face was a girl, underage. That to me was a bit surprising. I don't know about you, because it doesn't seem like I would have thought a girl. Not that that's that it can't happen. I just was surprised by that.
That's I did grow up in Beaver Lake, and BB guns were pretty common there. So that's
Yeah. Did you ever?
It's not the craziest BB gun story I've heard, but it sounds
Okay, now I bet you that it's a bit different with the BB gun story. Anything can happen, and there's accidents and things. But did anybody break into someone's place on purpose and shoot someone in the face with a BB gun?
Oh, there was a break-in. Okay, well.
Yeah, breaking. Yeah.
Yeah. What happens in Beaver Lake stays in Beaver Lake.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we'll leave on that note on the Beaver Lake comment. Thanks for being with us, everyone. Billy especially, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
Man, it's an honor. And I guess we'll try to have Pierre on the show tomorrow and make that work. We'll have to get him a mic somehow tonight. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But anyways, thanks for being with us, everyone. Stay tuned now on CKLU 96.7 FM for Earshot Daily. Remember to like and share the videos. Also like and follow the pages and subscribe to our YouTube, please. YouTube.com/Sudbury News. All right, Billy, thanks. And
thank you.
Everyone, thank you for being with us today. Same time, same place tomorrow. Ciao.